Tesla might be getting crushed tomorrow when the market opens. They just announced their fourth quarter delivery numbers and production numbers, and I want to go through that, talk to you about my opinions on it, because I think it's going to be different for a lot of people compared to what I think. I think overall, this was a great quarter for Tesla, but I still think that they might get crushed because of what they've said previously. Now, if you don't mind, hit the like button, subscribe button, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate that. Just gonna film this. I was just with some friends of mine, actually talking with someone that's in the auto industry that was talking about electric vehicles. And he said, you know, a lot of people make this case that we can't go electric tomorrow and that the grid won't be able to handle it, but we're not gonna go electric by tomorrow. It's going to happen over years, and he still thinks that electric has a very bright future. He doesn't work at Tesla, but he sees the whole industry shifting and the possibility of what's to come. So I just wanted to say that. Now, Tesla announced their delivery and production numbers. They came in a little bit lower than expected. 439,000 on production and about 405,000 on deliveries. Now, this was lower than Wall Street estimates. I've seen some people say Wall Street was around 417,000. Some people say 431,000. Either way, it's lower than what analysts were expecting, which we'll talk about that in a second. But they also had about a 40% increase year over year in terms of deliveries, which is lower than they kind of suggested last quarter. They said that they were going to have just under 50%. Now, to me, that sounds like 45 to 49% in terms of delivery increase throughout the year, not 40%. I think that's a pretty large miss. Now, they are going into recession. I think we all know that the world's kind of going into recession right now. But then they had about a 47% increase in terms of delivery, or in terms of production, sorry. So I think that was actually pretty good. They're still ramping up at a time where, you know, there are a lot of issues in China with COVID right now as well. And they're still being able to ramp up, but we knew that this was going to be kind of a wide quarter between how many they were able to produce and how many they were going to be able to deliver, because they said that they're not going to rush to try to deliver cars at the end of the quarter anymore, because they have to pay more significant money to be able to rush those vehicles out. So overall, I think there will be a pretty large reaction to this tomorrow. I think analysts won't be excited about this. They'll try to sell off Tesla, I would expect, but I think that it's misguided a bit, because analysts are making these predictions, right? They are making wild predictions, really large growth numbers, and just because they don't hit them doesn't mean that it was a bad quarter. This is going to be a record quarter, most likely in terms of profitability. They were still able to grow 40% in terms of deliveries in 1 year, in a year where they had shutdowns in their biggest facility. There's a ton of fear of a recession. There are a lot of traditional car companies that are having a hard time, and they're still making a lot of progress. They're still looking at, you know, a 20 price to earnings ratio going forward, which is historically really cheap for a company that's able to grow like this. And again, they might have a short time span where they have a difficult time being able to sell their cars at the same prices. They might be facing some headwinds, but we do have some tailwinds as well. Just the fact that we are going into a time where EVs are getting more and more widely adopted. People that I thought would never consider EVs are now saying, yeah, these are the superior cars. We're also seeing EV tax credits, and while Tesla's kind of getting, I want to be careful how I say it, they're getting screwed essentially with their larger Model Y. They are allowed to get up to $80,000, or the credit works up to $80,000 if you get a 7-seater, but if you get a 5-seater, they're only giving you the ability to get the tax credit if it's up to a $55,000 vehicle, which is crazy, because some other 5-seaters that are just hybrids are getting a $7,500 tax credit. So government's trying to screw Tesla a little bit, but the growth and the profitability is still there. They're still executing really well compared to every other company out there. They still have a great cash position, and they're still growing, which I think is important. They're still developing. They're still making great strides, and it doesn't matter, you know, if they sell 10,000 less cars than expected. They're still doing all that in the short term, and that's going to help them in the long term. So I am looking at Tesla as a multi-year opportunity, not just a couple months. I don't care. And honestly, the fact that they missed numbers might actually be the best thing for us if we're looking to add more Tesla. If this sent them under $100 and the people are really worried about demand that might be good for you as a long-term shareholder. Now, I think they have to be a little bit more clear moving forward. When they say 50% growth, what do they actually mean? And does that mean 40%? Does that mean 45%? Did they screw up and maybe they thought this was going to be a better quarter than expected? We also have to kind of maybe be a little bit less subjective, like when Elon says this is going to be an epic quarter. What does that mean, right? Because this was an epic quarter if you weren't already expecting, 450,000 vehicles made and 420,000 delivered. But when you expect higher and you see worse results come in, I think that underperformance makes you think this was maybe a poor quarter or not an epic quarter. But still, we're talking about great growth. Again, 40% and 47% over last year, at a time where it's very difficult. So hopefully they're a little bit less objective. I'm curious to see how this shakes out and what they say on the earnings call. I'm also curious to see what kind of profitability they have at a time where they are starting to lower some prices and give more incentives. Are they able to keep that high margin? Were they able to bring costs down throughout the year? And especially because they are ramping up in a couple different facilities, how does that affect their bottom line? So it will be interesting to see and kind of see what they have going this year. When is the Cybertruck actually going to come out? How many semis are they able to produce and deliver? That kind of thing. And what kind of strides are they making with full self-driving? Because they continue to say year after year that it's very close. So I want to see that continue to get better and better, and hopefully they can slowly unveil that to the point where maybe some policymakers don't even realize that it's happening, but all of a sudden everyone has it in their hands and they're using it daily, and then they can start to realize some of that income. And they're going to do that in the fourth quarter anyways, something to consider as well. They will likely realize a lot of that full self-driving income. So overall, I think this might be a great opportunity for us as investors to be able to dollar cost average in or to buy more if it does fall down. I would like to see more guidance moving forward. I'm still excited about the company overall. I realize that they are in a difficult industry as rates move up. Something else to consider is it seems like we're towards the top of the rate cycle. I'll be careful about saying that, but it seems like a lot of people, myself included, think that we might be topping out this year in terms of rates and then start to see rates actually decline. And hopefully that happens for Tesla, because that would be great for the auto industry. A lot more people will be more likely to buy cars if they're getting 3% rates or 2% rates as opposed to 6 or 7% rates, which is what I assume a lot of people are seeing right now. So hopefully that continues and we see a little bit of a tailwind there as well. Now let me know your thoughts about the Tesla deliveries underneath the video. Let me know, what do you think about the production? I think, again, pretty good overall, just lower than some analysts made with their expectations, right? It's just arbitrary at some point and they're just estimating. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.